Hitchcock's performance camshaft. What's different about it? Hello, welcome. Right, I've got the performance cam and we're going to fit this in the engine today because I want to put the engine back in this machine and start putting it back together. Now, as I said last time, there's great videos about fitting this cam and I'll put links to those down below, like Coast Rider Scotland's Tiger Ness, lots more. And I can't add a lot to that, but we'll do a few close-ups of putting it in and we'll have a look at the profile of this cam to see what's going on, and we'll compare it to the original so we can see if we can see what's different, what it's adding. Not that it will be very scientific, but we'll just literally have a look and see how that goes. So I'm hoping this should go pretty straightforward, though probably shouldn't say that. Engine's here, it's lovely and clean, it's very accessible. We've got all the tools, and we may have a go at making a torque wrench, which will either be good or not. But I've got my little torque wrench. I'm not sure if I trust it. But we'll look at that. We'll look at this. We'll get the instructions out. Right, let's get right to it. I've got a feeling there's going to be a lot of bolts today, so I'm going to use this. And why not? Not worried about that gasket because it's still the old gasket. So it's time to say goodbye to the old gasket. Right, got to turn the camshaft. So I'm going to need this lovely plug out. Now, obviously to get the cam timing right, I need to lock the crankshaft. There's a special tool that fits under here, but this cover's got to come off, so I didn't tighten it up, so no problem there. There we go, just as we left it. Don't lose anything. Lovely and clean, eh? Right, obviously the camshaft has to open the valves in the correct relationship to the piston, or the piston is going to smash the valves to pieces. And apparently this little hole here is where this special crankshaft locking tool goes. So if I can get that ready. No, that is not the right hole, is it? No, I thought that was going to slip right in there. There's no other holes. I had heard that these can be a very tight fit. That does seem extremely tight. better check the manual, because I really thought that was just going to pop in there. There's no other holes. I'm not being daft, am I? No, that's enormous. What is going on there? Okay, well, there's a Hitchcock's website. There's the Classic 350 crank locking tool. And that is it. And the part number is the same. So it is the right part. It is the right hole. But it just does not fit. Now, Stephen Woodman-Dix, who's lent me these tools, said I may have to use some memory tape on to make it smaller. Not because he had that experience, but because he had heard that as well. And that's obviously the case, that there's absolutely no chance. I know that's kind of picked it up. That's only because I've it's got a beveled edge, look. And I've wedged it in that beveled edge. And it's even. You can even see where I've worn the black coating off, just on the end. So it looks like we're going to have to tease this down a bit. Now, have I got any emery tape? Because they're Stephen's tools, I want to do a nice job for him. I just want to send him back a box of bits. How weird. Now it looks like this is the genuine Royal Enfield tool, and I can see they do a pattern, a copy as well, slightly cheaper, that I might have seen in the other videos, that fits much better. So this might be a case of where the genuine article isn't the best. Right, let's knock the edge off this. Right, just pop that in the vise. See if we can make this a bit smaller. I knew I shouldn't have said it'd be straightforward. Here we are, not 30 seconds in. Right, let's have a little try with that. Okay, crank locking tool, part 2. Nope. I mean, it goes in a little way. It just seems wildly too big. I mean, not what, I mean, that's an exaggeration. But it's obviously. That's right, Glyn. Hammer it in so that it can never come out. Oh yeah, and there's the part number, as you can see, which is on the Royal Enfield site. I mean, if you're a terrible person, you could stick a drill through that casting, but then you'd have a sump full of swarf. We won't be doing that, don't worry. Right, let's rub it down a bit more. Now I've really gone at it. Let's have a go. Oh, hey. Excellent. So I'm not sure why that was so difficult, because it's the official Royal Enfield part. But that took a good 5 minutes work, 5-10 minutes of filing. But it's hardened steel, so the file wasn't really touching it. So if you've got the Royal Enfield special tool, I'd be interested to hear how well it fit for you. Right, let's spin this round, lock this crank. Sorted. Straightforward, my ass. So with that crank locked, let's try the top special tool, which fits in there. And this pin should go in that hole. Well, actually, it doesn't look. So the factory timing is about, it's got to be actually 1 to 2 degrees out. Because that pin is about half its width from going in the camshaft. Interesting. So the factory timing is wrong. According to these tools, anyway. Right. So maybe now it'll be straightforward. Right. This is where I need to not drop things. Now, is there a washer on there to catch me out? No. Careful. Let's bring around the home position. Nice. Okay. So the cam is loose. I think the reason you do the home position last is so the cam isn't tensioned, so it's not hitting the valves, because it's the compression stroke, obviously. The valves are loose. In fact, the valves are loose over quite a large part of the rotation of that cam. You can see for that whole distance there, you got the full valve clearance. So if you're doing valve clearances and you're absolutely obsessing about trying to get this hole at the top, you're probably worrying too much. Because even if you're off by a huge amount with your cam position. The valves are still fully closed. So don't worry. Right, cam chain tensioner. Lovely. Right, I think we're ready to get this cam out. Now, I don't want this to drop down in the engine, because that would be bad. You could connect this to the frame, as other people are doing, but I don't have a frame. So I'm going to pop these bolts in and a cable tie, and hopefully I can attach this to this. Don't drop it. Okay, 3 bolts. And a loose camshaft sprocket. Ah, that's going to be fine. Stay there. Woohoo! Right, time to get the cam out. What have we got there? 4 bolts. Okay. Gotcha. No surprises. We'll have a look at this in a sec, but I'll just take it safe for now. Lovely. There's the cam. There's a thrust washer there. Got to watch for that. There's quite a lot of suction on this. There we go. Thrust washer is still in place. I'll show you that now. I'll take that thrust washer out. Although it's not actually, yes, it is a thrust washer. Just keeps the cam from moving sideways. I'll try and keep that the same way round. I doubt it matters much, but it can't hurt. Now I see the dowels. There should have been 2 dowels in there. They've come out with the rocker. I'll show you that now. I should have been more careful there, because that could have dropped out. See? When I lifted that off, that dowel could have just dropped out and gone down the crankcase. I should have been more careful there. So something to look out for when you lift off your rocker box. Cam, cover, don't let that dowel drop out. Woohoo! Exciting. Right, just take those dowels out before I lose them. Typical. One's come out easily and the other doesn't want to come out. Let's leave it. I just thought we'd have a look underneath at the rocker assembly. Lovely cast aluminium part. 2 hardened steel shafts. Very nicely, it's got rollers, look. That's superb. I was expecting to see pads there, a bit like an old A-series mini engine or something of that era. And the cam would push on the pads and they'd wear away. But this, very nicely, it's got rollers, so as the cam comes round, the rocker arms roll nicely over the top surface of the cam. That's really good. And instead of plain old adjuster bolts, it's got these pads on top where it contacts the valves. That's really nice. Nice engineering. So there's the original cam. I can get the bag open. Okay, have a look at that. That's the inlet cam on the original camshaft. If I bring in the Hitchcock's one, it's a subtle difference, but you can see it pops the valve open faster, very quickly, holds it open longer, and lets it snap shut quickly. Whereas the original, the valve opens much slower, peaks, and falls away again very quickly. It's very subtle, but the Hitchcock's noticeably more aggressive. It looks like it's very hard to tell. It looks like it opens it a touch further as well. So it opens it faster, holds it open longer, opens it a bit further, closes it faster. And if you have a look at the exhaust one, that's the same look. The original, slow to open, and then starts to close. Whereas the Hitchcock's much faster. Ow, these edges are sharp. Make sure we got some wire in here. Don't forget that thrust washer. which I'll probably drop now that I've got oily fingers. Still turning? Yep. Still turning. Good job. Okay, and tighten to 10 Newton meters. Fab. Does the cam turn? Yes. Right, see if we can get the cam timing better than factory. Crank is locked. Cam is locked. Excellent. Still got some clearance on the valves, but obviously we'll have to check that. Right. Let's try and pop this back on without dropping anything. Fits nicely anyway. Obviously the engine pulls from the front, so I'll make sure this sprocket is backwards. It doesn't explicitly say that in the instructions, so I'm glad Tiger S and Coast Rider Scotland mentioned that. Or all your good work would be for nothing. Ow. There's always room for trap fingers. Right. I think we can put the tensioner in. Just got to withdraw that spring and reset it. Holding it over the engine. I don't want to drop it. forgot to order the new gasket, so we'll go with this. I can always add it again. I'll probably see if it leaks first. They're only a couple of quid. Let's put the tensioner core in. Right, that's tight. So now, don't need that anymore. Let's drop that out. Unlock the crank. Fit the second bolt. And the third. Squirt a bit of oil in there. A few laps round. Now, let's bring that back to top dead center. Right, crank's locked. Is the cam still in the right place? Dead on. Perfect. There we go. Locking tool out. I think that's in. Just reset these tappets. Pretty good. Perfect. Just torque that down. Nice drag, no play. Brilliant. Yeah, that one's too tight. There's a slot to hold these with a screwdriver, but I don't find it necessary myself. Not with such good access like this, anyway. Brilliant. So bye-bye to that crank locking tool. Gasket in place, O-ring in place. And a load of bolts. Neat. We'll torque this all up last. Let's put the top on. Yeah, 3 new seals in the service kit. There's the old one, all squished. Nice fat rubber new ones. Little plate for the side. Nice. What else can we do? Right. Almost all the bolts on this Royal Enfield ask for a torque of 10 Newton meters, which is great with a torque wrench. It's very simple. You just dial it in, and when it clicks, 10 Newton meters. But all 10 Newton meters means is at 1 meter a force of 10 newtons. So if I get, this could be a bit of wood, could be anything. I happen to have this metal pipe, metal pole, and just a little wrench. You could tape this to a piece of wood, or stick up a pipe, cable ties, anything, as long as it's secure. So I'm going to pop that down there. And what I've got is a 1 meter long Allen wrench, basically. Now I need my extension. So this is 1 meter, 1 meter long. Stick that in there like that. So that's horizontal. If I come 1 meter away, if I put a force of 10 newtons on this meter long spanner, basically, then I've got 10 Newton meters. That's it, that's all there's to it. Same as engine torque. I think these are like 20 Newton meters. Are they, this engine? Let's say it was, if you see that rating, all it means is this engine at 1 meter could lift 20 newtons of force. As it happens, 10 newtons is basically equivalent to 1 kilogram. Any online converter can tell you that. So 10 newtons is 1 kilogram, and because metric is easy, 1 kilogram is 1 litre of water. So if we find 1 litre of water to hang on the end of this bar, we've got 10 Newton meters at this bolt. Aha, found it. I found some bike cleaner. No, this isn't product placement, but it is 1 litre. So 1 kilogram. Obviously there's a tiny bit extra with the plastic, but it's so negligible, we're not going to worry about that. It's got a 1 metre long spanner. It's even got a handy hook on it. So if I put this on the end, and it needs to be horizontal, that's bending my pole a bit, if you know what I mean. And that should be 10 Newton meters. Now obviously it could have gone over because this will just click. So I need a way to check that. I know. Let's slowly increase this. Until it starts to move it. Oh yeah, it did. So I increased that by a fraction. I increased that by about 1 Newton meter on my torque wrench, and it's starting to turn the bolt, which means that this had not taken it past 10 Newton meters. So that worked fine. That's really good. Let's just reset this before I ruin something. There we go, a bit Heath Robinson. That seems to work. Obviously, if you had to do something horizontal, you could always hook up a pulley or something. So the weight would go down. You could have a pulley, and the pulley would pull the end of your makeshift torque wrench. That was pretty good. Pretty good for a bodge. So if you're stuck for a torque wrench, 1 litre of water at 1 metre, 10 Newton meters. Don't come back to me if it all goes wrong. Just to finish up, we've had the last things back from the powder coaters. So we've got the side frames, lovely powder coat, and the handlebars as well, because they come in a satin finish. That's lovely now, because obviously that would be sitting next to the instruments, and it would look terrible if it was the satin black. 2 exhaust brackets. You can't really see them, but I think it'll add to the overall impression, and it'll stop them rusting, of course. So now we have an excellent collection of powder coated bits. and an engine. There we go, all done. Engine complete, ready to go back in the frame. Thanks very much to Stephen Woodman-Dix, Norfolk Thunderbolt, for these special tools that I had to modify. I'll get these back to him now. Next time, we've got quite a lot of parts ready to go on. So I've got the frame just over there. I'll give that a clean up. We'll put the engine in. And I think I've got pretty much everything to start putting it back together. Nothing bodywork wise, we haven't done that yet. But all the metal parts, frame parts, the forks. We've got the forks, haven't we? Engine, filters, handlebars, new handlebars, all powder coated. Headlight. Yeah, next time it's going to be exciting because it's going to be on its wheels, I'm sure. On those big wheels. And we can see how that fits. So yes, I'm excited for that. Thanks very much for joining me again this week. Thanks for all your comments on the last video as well. It's really great to hear from you, and I'm glad to be making these videos. Now, it's time for tea. Let's leave this here, and I will be back.